Right everyone, it is Ben here and welcome to my Champions League knockout playoff predictions, where the group stage is finally done in this brand new Champions League format and it is now time for the playoffs, which of course, if you're unaware of how things kind of move on from this point on, essentially the top 8 teams from the group stage will automatically go through to the round of 16, while 9th place to 24th will now battle it out in a playoff spot to meet those teams in the round of 16.
That is bloody lovely.
Now we've got some fantastic games like Manchester City versus Real Madrid, but we also have some uneven games, and talking about uneven, we have Brest versus PSG first.
Do you think Brest could get exposed tonight?
I hope so.
Now, of course, I was just doing that from transition point of view, but of course, don't forget, before we get into the predictions, if you do enjoy this kind of content, don't forget to like and subscribe. It helps the channel out massively. But looking at the all-French affair of Brest versus PSG, looking at these two teams, there has to be a favourite here in my opinion. Looking at PSG, although they have had some dodgy moments in the Champions League here and there, they ended up higher on the table than Brest, and also in the league, they are higher at the moment. And in terms of our direct comparison, over the weekend, they just beat Brest 5-2, Dembele having an absolute masterclass, and I have to say that I would be shocked moving forward if PSG did not take this one. Saying that though, Brest have definitely had some impressive moments.
Who here likes Brest?
I like the shape of them.
And ultimately, this is PSG in the Champions League, a competition that they seamlessly seem to be allergic of all the time. I do think at the end of the day, though, despite whatever curse you want to put in place, I would be surprised if PSG did not take this one, and I think they'll do so. And now for game number 2, we've got Sporting versus Borussia Dortmund, a game that could honestly be decided by the flip of a coin. Looking at Dortmund, they have not been great this season, mid-table in the Bundesliga, but they are 10th place in the Champions League, which just missed out on automatic qualification by 2 spots. And I do have to admit, ever since the likes of Nuri Sahin was sacked as their manager, they have had some improvements, and it's so weird to think that this is the Dortmund team that was in the final of the last Champions League, considering where they are now. I mean, in football terms, it's like the reverse version of what Rob Holding did to his hair. It is shocking.
It's a bit of a weird analogy.
But looking at Sporting once again, they are also so hard to predict, because although they are still currently top of the Portuguese league, they obviously got that massive win versus City earlier on in the group stage. They have not been the same since Amram left, and it could honestly go either way. But if I did have to decide this just based purely on Champions League performances, Sporting are 23rd, Dortmund are 10th. I do have to go for Dortmund on this one. Now next up, we've got Juventus versus PSV, a very interesting fixture as they did face each other in the group stage, where Juventus did win this one 3-1. But saying that, this is also not going to be a predictable fixture, because looking at Juventus, they haven't kind of been the, sign of consistency. They haven't been the poster boy of consistency this season. They have drawn 13 out of their 22 league games so far at the time of recording, and they have had some defensive resilience, but on the attacking front, they haven't been quite there. Saying that though, ever since Kolo Muani has transferred to the club, he has been fantastic up front for them.
Boss, amazing, sick, great, fantastic. What else do you want me to say?
And he could really be the kind of decision-making player against the likes of PSV. Saying that though, in the final group stage game, PSV did beat the likes of Liverpool, the favourites for the competition, I would say. So once again, this could absolutely go either way. And PSV, especially at home, are not an easy team to beat in my opinion. I do think that Juventus will win the first leg here, but you know what? I'm going to say overall, just for shock factor, I'm going for PSV. I'm sure the comments will love that one.
You're a donut! You're so stupid!
Next up, we've got Manchester City versus Real Madrid, a fixture that we've really grown to know over the last few years. I think it's the 4th consecutive season or something that they have faced each other, but it is never a game that we're going to get tired of. Of course, it's always notoriously been a close fixture. I think over all the meetings between these two teams, Real Madrid have won 4 games, Man City have won 5, and there have been 5 draws. It is always a close one. And looking at these two teams, neither of them would have been expected to be in the playoffs. They were all expected to make an automatic spot. They have both been shocking this season in terms of Champions League consistency. Looking at Man City, they've just lost to Arsenal 5-1. They have had a horrific season so far.
I want to hurt myself.
They have struggled with injuries, saying that so have Real Madrid at points. It could go either way though, but just based purely off of that 5-1 loss over the weekend, I do think I just have to go for Real Madrid here. When it comes to experience in this competition, and really kind of just that never give up attitude, I've seen a lot more from Real Madrid over the last few few years, and I do have to give it to this one. Game number 5 is Club Brugge versus Atalanta. Now, this is a fixture that I think a lot of people are going to sleep on, because you would think that Atalanta, of course, they're the obvious favourites. They won the Europa League last year, they are competing for the Serie A title this season, but Club Brugge, once again, they are kind of a sleeping team here and there in terms of a sleeping giant. Before they lost to Manchester City in their last game, they were 20 games unbeaten. They've still got some fantastic talents within their team, but saying that though, I'm not going to be too silly about my prediction, because as I said, Atalanta, they won a European trophy within the last few months. Overall, they are fighting for a Serie A title. They were the last team in terms of just missing out on an automatic qualification spot, picking up 9th place.
You will never get this, you will never get this, la 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 la.
Saying that though, as I said, Bruges have had decent performances here and there. They've had some exciting moments, but I would feel silly if I didn't predict Atalanta here. For game number 6, we've got Celtic versus Bayern Munich. Now, of course, many people are heading into this fixture with an obvious favourite, and you know what? It just has to be Bayern Munich. Looking at them though, they have been unpredictable here and there, getting silly losses like a 4-1 loss to Barcelona, where you should not lose to that level, and a 3-0 loss to Feyenoord. But saying that though, if they could beat any team, it would probably be Celtic.
You know, let's not take the piss here.
But the last German team they faced was in the group stage. It was Borussia Dortmund, where they did lose 7-1. And if you're conceding those kinds of numbers to Borussia Dortmund, you could concede similar numbers to Bayern Munich.
No question about it, I am ready to get hurt again.
In our second last game, we've got Monaco versus Benfica. Now, I, in my mind, have a very clear favourite here. Looking at Monaco, they started off their Champions League campaign with a win over Barcelona. Saying that though, ever since then, they have totally crumbled, and they have lost to almost every big team that they've played so far this season. Really needless losses, they've had poor discipline here and there, where if you look at the likes of Benfica, they've really impressed me. They got that 2-0 win over Juventus. They only just lost to Barcelona after leading a huge chunk of their game. They also just lost to Bayern Munich. I do see a tiny bit more hunger from this Benfica team, and I do think hunger is the thing that will carry them over the line. I mean, they almost have the hunger of Luke Shaw in their team.
Sorry about that, fatty.
Ultimately, at the end of the day though, I do think Benfica should take this one. They still have a legendary squad. And our final Champions League knockout playoff game, it is Feyenoord versus AC Milan. Now, what an interesting fixture this could be, because neither team, once again, like so many other games here, neither team has been predictable. Look at the likes of Feyenoord, they beat Bayern Munich 3-0, then went on to lose to Lille 6-1. Where if you look at the likes of AC Milan, they've definitely been sloppy in terms of defense here and there. They obviously ended up losing to the likes of Zagreb, which they definitely shouldn't have, but yet beat the likes of Real Madrid. This is a wildly unpredictable fixture, but maybe the biggest news of this fixture is the fact that Feyenoord's top striker, Santiago Jimenez, has just joined AC Milan.
You were the chosen one! It was said that you would destroy this sin, not join them!
They've just gotten themselves a top quality striker, and that could have a major effect in terms of how this game kind of pans out. And because of that transfer, maybe just alone, I do think AC Milan should take this one, and I think they could take both of the legs. This is a massive transfer that changes everything. But of course, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for my Champions League knockout playoff predictions. Now, once again, this is the Champions League and it is football, so things are unpredictable. But let me know what your predictions are down below. And as I said earlier, do like and subscribe if you like this kind of content. It does make sense. But of course, this has been Finn, FYNN. Cheers.